The griffin, we have noticed, is supposed to be the offspring of the lion and the eagle. According to ancient fable, griffins, or griffons, were creatures sacred to the sun and who kept guard over hidden treasure. Sir Thomas Browne, who wrote a strange work of learning and credulity in 1646 entitled Vulgar Errors, gravely states that the griffin is emblematical of watchfulness, courage, and rapidity of execution. These mythical guardians of the gold mines were constantly at war with the one-eyed people of Scythia called Arimaspians, who adorned their hair with gold. To this fable we find allusion in Milton's Paradise Lost. As when a griffon through the wilderness pursues the Arimaspian, who by stealth had from his wakeful custody purloined the guarded gold. In the legend of Prester John, we read of a pestilence ceasing when one Astolfo arrives on a flying griffin and chases the harpies away. The supporters of the City of London's arms are griffins. When Temple Bar, which indicated the boundary line between the two cities of London and Westminster, was removed in 1878, to mark the site a memorial was erected in the form of a pedestal, having on its sides appropriate sculptured panels and surmounted by a bronze griffin supporting a shield bearing the city arms. At one time, the city supporters were lions, but these seem to have been supplanted by the griffins of Wales as a bit of flattery to Henry VII, the first monarch of the Welsh line of Tudor. The Wyvern constituted the ancient crest of the town of Leicester. It is now well known as the badge of the Midland Railway, which had its beginnings in that place. A very ornate representation of it appears on the helmet of Thomas Plantagenet, Earl of Lancaster, tempo Edward III, a significant fact which has not escaped the notice of the eminent Midland Herald, Mr. Alfred Rodway, who recalls that though his shield shows the arms of Lancaster, his crest discloses that he was also Earl of Leicester. The cockatrice is so called because it was commonly supposed to be produced from a cock's egg hatched by a serpent. According to legend, the very look of this monster was supposed to cause instant death. In Shakespeare's Twelfth Night appears the allusion, "They will kill one another by the look." The prophet Isaiah says, "The weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den," implying that the most noxious of beasts should not be able to hurt the feeblest of God's creatures. Figuratively, the cockatrice stands for an insidious, treacherous individual bent on mischief. In consequence of the crest with which the head is crowned, the creature is sometimes called a basilisk, from the Greek word basiliskos, meaning a little king. The basilisk is rightly the king of serpents and dragons. It also is supposed to have the power of looking anyone dead on whom it fixes its eyes. Hence, the poet Dryden makes Clytus say to Alexander, "Nay, frown not so, you cannot look me dead." The attribution of the kingly rank to this monster arises from the creature's head being crowned with a mitre-shaped crest. These two fabulous creatures, the cockatrice and the basilisk, are virtually the same in all their attributes, but the latter is unknown in heraldry. Of the swift, death-dealing glance of the basilisk, the ancient philosopher Aristotle once proposed to take military advantage by suggesting to Alexander that the deadly creature should be lifted onto the wall of a besieged city and strike all the inhabitants dead. Not only was this most deadly asp fatal through its glance, but when it hissed at an enemy, it breathed forth a poison which contained every plague to which man was subject. In natural history, there is a genus of lizards called basilisks, quite innocent of all the deadly powers attributed to the fabled monster.